Okay, class. We are now in the second part of hair, and we're looking at hair growth. Hair growth. Okay. The growth of hair, there are three cycles: the catagen, the telogen, okay, and the anagen. The anagen is the growth period. That's when the hair is actually growing. The catagen phase is when the hair just stops growing and is just sitting there, and then telogen is when it falls out. Now, all hair will go through those, but if you don't have any disease or anything, let's think of the head. One hair in one position is adjacent to another hair, but the growth period and those stages in that hair is not the same as the one next to it. All of them work independently. So hair grows in cycles of various phases. Anagen is the growth, catagen is the involutional regressing phase where it really is not doing anything, and telogen is really when it falls out. Normally up to 90 in anagen, while 10 to 14 in this, and so forth. These are just kind of sitting there, the catagen. All right. So anagen, the growth phase. Anagen is the active growth phase of hair. The cells in the root, the hair matrix cells, are dividing rapidly, adding to the hair shaft. During this phase, the hair grows about 1 centimeter every 2.5 millimeters per week, every 28 days. Scalp hair stays in this active phase for 2 to 7 years. Again, it depends on the person. The amount of time the hair follicle stays in anagen is genetically determined. At the end of anagen, an unknown signal causes the follicle to go into catagen and just stops growing. Okay? So if a person had a long growth period and a fast growth rate, they could have hair down to their feet. Okay? The hair matrix cells are at the bottom. They have certain growth factors, and you have blood vessels here that give the oxygen for the hair to grow. You can read that yourself. Okay, here's the hair bulge area. And that hair, if you pull your hair out by the roots, you see that bulge area. You know, most of you know what I'm speaking of. The catagen phase is a short transition that occurs at the end of anagen. It signals the end of active growth. The hair just kind of sits there and really has not fallen out, which would be telogen. Again, you can look at that. The telogen phase is the resting phase of the hair. The hair is the final product, and what it's going to do is break off and shed the telogen. All hair is going to do this eventually. So here we are, anagen, catagen, telogen, a little picture there. Okay. Hair growth cycle times. The scalp, the time phases differ from person to person. Anagen, let's say 2 to occasionally much longer. Catagen, 2 to 3. Eyebrows, see, the reason the eyebrows and the hair on your skin, you know, other part don't get is because they have a very, very, very short growth phase, and then it falls out. Doesn't get a chance to build that mature cuticle layer. Hair thinning and baldness. Hair grows faster in the teen years and the 40s. Alopecia is hair thinning. Male pattern baldness is caused by too much dihydrotestosterone. Strangely, androgens, testosterone, cause hair to grow, but as a person gets older, genes, delayed action genes, cause it to fall out. Now, women can have male pattern baldness. If a person is genetically, and they have one chromosome that has so let's say mom handed them the male pattern baldness gene. Dad doesn't have to do it, and they'll get male pattern baldness. They'll get because it's a dominant situation. In females, it's recessive, so 2 parents would have to hand you that, and then a female can get it. So a female can also get it. Telogen effluvium. One thing that'll make hair fall out is stress or loss of weight or various things, and a bunch of hair will go into telogen and start to falling out. Okay, just showing you some various things there. Okay, so this just kind of talks about the hair. So let's just think about it. So the color of hair is due to the bend down of the melanocytes. The genetics in the melanocytes is different than that on the skin. So first of all, the color of hair is not the same as the skin. Second thing, the melanocytes give out earlier. When they give out earlier, then the hair grows, but it has no pigment, so it looks gray because you're looking at that. The 3 stages of hair growth are anagen for growth, telogen for falling out, and catagen for just sitting there. Okay? So that's kind of what you're looking at. Now, in order to get, so then we have vellus hair, which is fine velvety hair, like on your skin. The reason it doesn't get long is because it has a short anagen and falls out. The longer the anagen, the more time it has to build up a nice cuticle layer. That's why the hair on the head is harder, but that on the skin is not. Okay, very short, and it falls out. The eyebrows have a little longer than than the hair on the skin, so they do have time to get somewhat harder, but they too fall out. So the head hair can go much longer, and it depends on the genetics, because if you look at it, how fast hair grows and how long it grows will tell how long your hair can be on your head. Some people can't grow long hair because genetically they just can't do it. All right? So that again talks about the hair. Okay. Now we'll go to the nails. They protect the ends of the digits, assist in grasping things, used in scratching, and so forth. Nail keratin, like I said, nails are a modified form of skin, but the keratin in nails is tougher than the keratin in skin because of more disulfide bridges. So here's a nail. These are the structures. See, that's that cuticle, which they call the eponychium. Cuticle, fancy name, eponychium. Here's your free edge. Here's the nail. Now back here you have nail matrix cells. See, the nail did just like the hair. The stratum basale migrated, but instead of making hair matrix, it made nail matrix. And then what happens, these cells are lined up and they produce layers of the nail. Almost like, like a newspaper has layers. That's why you can see at the end it to fray out sometimes. And then you have something called oncogenic substance. That's like a glue that cements the various layers of the nail. Oncogenic substance. So here's that nail there. Hyponychium under here. Eponychium is the cuticle. Here's the nail bed right there, what that nail is sitting on. Here's the root back here. You can look at it in your book. Okay? So that's your nail there. Here's right there. Okay, and you can kind of read a little bit. You don't have to read too much on nails. Now you can get certain conditions of the nails. You can get fungal infections, which would be which would be here would give fungal infections. You can get fungal infections under here too, and so which we call paronychitis. Paronychitis, which would be under there. It's hard to get rid of that because even though this is a nice drawing, the nail doesn't quite sit on the bed, that little pockets. So if you get a fungus infection and you dip your nails, let's say, in hydrogen or other things, it may not get into those pockets. And so sometimes we have to take the nail off. Sometimes you can get a felon, not the criminal. A felon is when you get an infection in the pulp of the finger, and that could even destroy the bone here, the phalanx. So that's why you better be sure if you're a female and go to the nail shops that they keep their instruments good and clean, because you can easily get some infections and so forth in there. Just wanted to point that out to you there. So those are essentially your nails there. Okay. Now I'm going to start a separate video to talk about skin cancer. I think it's important enough to start a second video, another video on that. All right. Thank you.